Hey guys, so interesting thing, this is our second take on this thing because somehow I forgot certain rules in Brazil that I just won't get into at this time. But
so this is part two.
This is essentially it's part two. Nonetheless, you know, I'm here with my guy, Yusef Wateef. I never somehow remember the last name, Corrington. Yes, I remembered it. Yusef Wateef Corrington, a man that I greatly admire, and I have no bones in saying this. Someone that taught me quite a lot since I've come here. He's been able to shape a lot of what I see and a lot of how I think and perceive things generally with respect to not just Brazil, but relationships in general as it may transcend across borders. So, you know, United States, Europe, whatnot. And interestingly enough, the first question I have to ask is about how you perceive not man and woman relationships, but relationships in general. Because on our way up here just now, you were talking to me about some old tips that your boss, a mentor of yours, used to give you with respect to being able to get loyalty from customers. And you've got some interesting tips with respect to, let's say, being able to get people to respect you more in relationships, no matter who it is, that kind of thing. You know?
Well, I always start by saying to other people the same thing my mentor, one of my greatest mentors when I was in the financial business, said to me. I don't have any new ideas. I'm giving you ideas and techniques that have been passed down from successful businessmen long before any of us were here. Because these tips tend to transcend the year you're in or the country that you're in. Because the reason I needed so much mentorship in that respect is I understood how to run numbers. I could give you a package that made sense, but he really had to say, you know, you have to make sure people like it and they feel comfortable with you before they can really accept the numbers that you're giving them, even if the numbers are correct, even if the numbers haven't changed. We passed by a custom stationery shop that makes silver or gold engraved pens, and I said one of the things I would do with my clients after we wrote a contract is when they would go to grab their pen out of their pocket, I'd say stop. I brought you a present. I'd give them a pen engraved with their name on it. I'd say this is our special pen. This pen is only for when you're doing business with me. And they'd look at it and say, wow, well thank you. And I said, I brought you a little box, you're going to put that on your desk. If anybody asks about it, you're going to give them my phone number. And I'm glad to be doing business with you. I'm glad to have you as a client, and I'm looking forward to a friendship as well. Well, is what I'm doing terribly expensive? No, you can buy the appropriate pen for the appropriate client. You can spend millions on a pen, or you can spend almost nothing. But showing them that gives them this huge difference, you know. The single biggest thing I was ever taught, and we haven't had a chance to chat about that yet, is everybody knows my favorite store in the United States is the dollar store. The dollar store, Dollar General, Value Dollar, whatever you call it. If you have a dollar store in the neighborhood, I'm going. One of the best tips I was ever given was to go to the dollar store, buy a package of thank you cards. And I don't mean anything special. You can get 8 to 16 in a pack that are about that big, and they just say thank you on one side. Whenever someone becomes a client, I would write in there, I'm looking forward to all the things we're going to do together. Thank you. And I would put it in the mail. Not a text, not an email. I'd put a stamp on it and put it in the mail. What's that? I have on your file, I know when your birthday is. On your birthday, I wanted to remind you of how much I appreciate having you as a client. Thank you. Looking forward to chatting with you next week to hearing how your birthday was. Boom, that goes in the mail for you. Now, I would do that for every special occasion. But it meant something when I would go to my client's office or their house, and they would have them on the wall. And it occurred to me, the guy you bought your car from, the guy you bought your house from, none of those people wrote you a thank you card, but the guy you did a little bit of business with on the side, well suddenly he becomes special because he showed you a little bit more. How many people watching this have had someone write them a thank you card, not say thank you over text or using the internet, but actually write on a piece of paper in a little card saying, I appreciate you and doing business with you. And that's something I'll give you for free. I hope you take that with you.
That's really good advice. You know, we don't tend to treasure relationships as much as you would think. And this is outside of just any one specific community. At the end of the day, human beings, we place people into boxes, not literally, but we do place people into boxes, and we care depending on what type of box that person has been placed in. But at the most basic level, you know, human decency, or decency altogether, ensures that if you care for someone, no matter what that level of care is, you ensure they know that you care.
Yes.
And that's a fundamental thing that was really beating to my head over these last 3 weeks or so. The next thing I have to talk about, it sort of segues into a question I've asked you before. But why Brazil? Why Brazil for you as an expat? Why Brazil?
After 15 countries, living everywhere from Asia and Southeast Asia to Europe and back, I can tell you that Brazil presents a unique set of, well, let's take the easy answer, business-wise. There are a lot of doors open in this country. They're welcome to foreigners, and this is a country where your reputation, your name matter even more than it does in the United States. I don't have a single client that came to me because of my LinkedIn or my resume. It's all, hey, I know a guy. He's reasonable. You should do business with him. I do no advertising. I only work, and by the way, I do editing, proofreading, copy editing, line editing for people who have books, magazines, web pages. I ghostwrite some of the web pages you actually enjoy. If you need anything like that done, give me a call. But that's the thing. Brazil has that. Brazil has going for it. And I love telling people this because they take it the wrong way. Brazilians are vain. At 42 years old, I can go into the gym in the United States, and I'm the oldest one there. Here, I'm not even close. The oldest men in the gym have all white hair, and they're still banging out those reps. I train in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. You know, when I go to the gym, I see guys with all white hair getting in there and strangling people unconscious. Here, people like to look good. They like to be in shape. Like, there's a premium put on trying to be physically competent, whereas in the United States, and I know you're going to kick my ass in the comments, the average American is extraordinarily obese, and I was a fat kid. So I know what it's like on the other side of the coin. I'm not going back.
Good one, man. All right, so here's the next thing I have to ask you. Just stemming from the question before about Brazil, what would you do differently if you had to do it all over again with moving here? What would you have done differently in terms of...
Easiest question I've been asked all day.
Yeah.
If the answer is the same thing I would tell you, this applies not just to Brazil, but every place else. Get a firm grip on the language. I don't care where you want to go. Even if you don't have a ticket and a passport yet, if you say to yourself, one day I want to move to Spain, great. Hey, I want to move to Brazil. Hey, learn Portuguese. If you're going to Spain, learn Spanish. Get online. There are so many free courses. The one I always tell people, and everybody laughs, but there's something called Duolingo. Will it teach you how to be fluent in anything? No. But Duolingo made sure that when I got here, I could read. I could read a menu to eat. I could read a bus to know where I'm going. I can read the train schedule. I wish I had spent more time. I did what I would call mediocre minimum. They have settings on how much you can do a day. I would do about 20 to 30 minutes a day sitting on the train when I was living in Shanghai, China before this. I wish I had done more, because getting here, one of the biggest reasons you want to show people that you're learning their language is you don't want to be some kind of a dirtbag immigrant. We all know what it's like to have someone in our community that came from another place that didn't want to learn the language, yet they expect you to try to help them. When I walk into a place, the first thing I say, and you see me say this, desculpe, eu preciso muito praticar o meu português. Excuse me, I really need to practice my Portuguese. And then I go into whatever it is that I'm going to tell them or ask them. There have been times when they say, okay, again, devagar, mais devagar, say it again, say it slowly. But they have that patience because they realize I didn't come to their country and demand that they speak my language. And I see dirtbag immigrants all over the world.
I must have given them that impression, because after a few sentences in Portuguese, I always ask, fala inglés.
But here's the thing, you always get no, but don't come to somebody else's country that, of course they don't speak English.
Exactly.
But you know, here's the thing, you tried. You tried. You didn't just get up. So can you go find someone who speaks English? Oh, sure, let me get right on that, sir.
I never asked that. I would then struggle.
I've seen it happen.
I would take out Google Translate and struggle through. My pronunciation sucks because most of what I understand Portuguese to be still, there's these Spanish roots, so therefore I slip in and out of.
Oh yeah, because you spoke Spanish, right?
Yeah.
That, I spoke a little bit of Spanish before I came to Brazil, and it hurt me because in class, my professor, she would just bang her hand on the table and say, no, we are not going to do that. I had the right word, but I would have the wrong pronunciation. And she would just get so angry about it.
The only word they can call properly now is abacaxi. Because
that's an inside joke.
Yeah, boy, that abacaxi, pineapple, by the way. And any of you that really are close to me back in BIM and across the Caribbean, especially my Guyanese peeps, would easily know my obsession with pineapples. So I know
he drank so much pineapple. I was concerned that we were gonna have to cut him off.
Suco de abacaxi?
Con hortelã, meaning we would sprinkle mint into our pineapple juice. You sprinkle mint, pineapple, put it in a blender with some ice and pour it, which is great. But he would drink like 4.
My blood sugar levels are actually still good though, luckily.
Because you're drinking straight fruit. I mean, I would have one and then I'd just taper off to water for the rest of the meal. He'd be like, one more, hit me again.
It tastes good though, honest to God.
Once didn't they bring 2 accidentally thinking it was for me? And you just say, no, I'll take both of them, thank you.
Good one, bro. Good one. There's good memories, huh?
Good memories.
Good memories. So, my most pertinent question.
Oh, here we go.
Most pertinent. No, not a hard one. Again, I want people to understand this. I'm going to race for a bit. Nothing too controversial, but race for a bit.
I'm up for it.
As black men, as black people, or because Caribbean people are majority black, do you think that Brazil is a place that presents opportunities for us regardless of skill?
No. There is no place on this planet that's going to give you opportunity regardless of skill. If you want to get out there and be a man that actually does something in the world or earn something in the world, you're going to have to develop a skill. Now that skill could be anything. That skill could be engineering. That skill could be turning pieces of wood into beautiful pieces of art. I don't really care. There's no place for a useless man. So stop looking. Everybody wants to look for a place where I can go with no skill and have something. It doesn't work that way. And as far as being black, I want to be clear. I can only speak to you from the perspective of an immigrant that has been in this country for 4 years. I am not Brazilian. My heart may be here, but I'll always be an American. And I am not dead fluent to the language, so there are a lot of nuances in reading that I don't have. I'm only giving you an outsider's perspective, and I'd much rather we have this conversation long form with some of my Brazilian friends to give a more nuance. What I will tell you is this. There is no place anywhere in the world that I can think of where being a black man doesn't come with baggage, so you might as well go wherever you want to. There's no place you're going to go where someone doesn't look at you differently. Now, you and I being English speakers, we have doors that open for us that don't open for other people. English is what you call a money language. If you go someplace and you are a native English speaker, you will have access to some business opportunities that other people don't. English is also the world's second language. So no matter where you go, most people, if they pick up a second language, it's going to be English. Whereas in the United States, most people pick up Spanish as a second language. When you travel the world, you find out everybody else picks up English. As far as being black here, Brazil and the United States are 2 of the most racist countries in the world. So someone said, well, why would you live in a country specifically against black people? And I said, because there's no place that it's not going to happen. Now, there are levels to it, don't get me wrong. I'm a black American, so there are a lot of things that don't happen to me. There are a lot of times when they would never think of trying to misbehave towards me, and if anything, being a black American has opened doors for me because of my new passport, and I want to be acutely aware of that. What I will also say to you is, I have friends from the Caribbean, from Jamaica. Is Jamaica Caribbean?
Yeah.
I don't
definitely.
know.
No, definitely.
From the Caribbean, from other places that are also black that have been just as successful as I have. I know black businessmen in this country that I break bread. We actually met a guy here, black businessman. We sat down, and he's a Brazilian guy, and he noticed that we spoke English, and I noticed that he noticed that he knew what we were saying. Hey, how you doing? Traded numbers, became a friend. He and some of his friends are going to come and hang out with me one day. But that's what I would say to you. Don't look for a place without challenge. What you can do is decide, and here's another thing, and this is why he and I have a lot of great conversations talking about capitalism. One of the things I learned as a financial professional in the United States is something that I've carried with me as a professional. If you're doing something professionally for people that make some money, they don't care where you're from or what you look like.
Yep.
They genuinely don't. The wealthiest and the smartest people you know I think there's a phrase that my friends in China told me. You may have a phrase like this in your country, but they would say, I'm going to paraphrase terribly. No one cares if the cat is black or if the cat is white, so long as the cat jumps when I tell it to. When I can come to a client with a bankroll of references from other people that he does business with, they can call him and say, that guy, do business with him. He doesn't care where I'm from. I could be green with purple polka dots if I'm making him money based on the skills that I have. Sure, you're in. It's just as I was saying to him, you know, come here, set up a business. You know, you already have the education and the skill. Nobody cares what you look like. You carry, if I can go Liam Neeson, you know, you carry a unique set of skills. You know, and that's the thing. And I wish that the world was a balanced place, but I don't know any time when it was balanced. So, you know, for me, being a black man has been pretty awesome. Maybe it wasn't for you, and maybe it wasn't your fault, but if you're watching this and you're one of his clients, his students, his friends, there is no excuse for you to not get out and hustle. There are a lot of black people all over the world that don't have the opportunities, but if you're one of his students or his clients or someone that does business with him, you have no excuse. The level on which he operates, don't come to me one day saying, well, I would, but I don't know. On the other hand, anybody out there that needs any help, if it's coming here or if it's a country I've lived in, call me, contact me. He has my contact information. He'll post it on his thing. No problems at all.
Yeah. I gotta thank you again for your time, honest to God. There's always a wealth of knowledge coming from you, Yusef. Honest to God.
Teamwork. Pay it forward.
Yeah. No, and that's something I subscribe to. I share my knowledge very relatively freely. It's all about whether you do something with it or not.
That's the other thing, to answer your question about some of the business questions you've had.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know this, but 80% of the things I do for free. I give information for free. I volunteer with youth groups, talking to them about future and business potential for free. I only get paid for about 20% of what I do. However, I'm good at what I do, and I come so well referred that I can charge at the top of the scale for what I do, and that makes up for it. You know, I make money to put food on the table, coffee in the cup. Past that, I love doing stuff for free because the stuff I do for free, I dictate the rules. A client can come to me and say, I need you to do this, and I do it because that's how capitalism works. But when I volunteer, I'm hard on them. When I have young men that come to me for mentorship, I keep my foot on their neck. Oh, Wateef, why do I have to listen? Hey, I'm doing this for free. You can get on board or not. Now, if you want to get something out of what I'm giving you, that's fine. But if not, you know, you can't complain to me because unless you're paying me for this, I set the tune.
And that's wise, very wise counsel to end this segment on, man. I mean, thank you for actually, he's the person, right, responsible for me putting out videos on YouTube. I've had people who've been telling me about it for a long time, and interestingly, none of it ever inspired me into action. And it took me coming to Brazil and meeting what would have been at the time a very random person, really knocking heads, agreeing on some stuff, disagreeing thoroughly on some other stuff, and nonetheless, all of that culminated to a point where
it culminated in the Muscle, Mustache, and Beard Society. I'm gonna do the clap goodbye.
Good one, man.